Yeah, first up this afternoon, two of the pre-championship favourites. That's Armagh and Kerry, and that game is at 2 o'clock. Then hardly time to draw breath, because next on the schedule it's Cork and Donegal. It's Ulster versus Munster again, and that one is at 4 o'clock. Well, as the championship draw has worked out, we have the champions and the runners-up from the two provinces on opposite sides of the equation here today. I'm looking forward to these two intriguing games. With me here in studio are Colin O'Rourke and Joe Brawley, just back from cricket in Headingley, of all things, during the week. This is a different kettle of fish here today, mind you.
I thought I would try and civilise him. England playing Pakistan. Every time England got a 4 or 6, O'Rourke was shaking his 4 or 6 card. I think I was the only person in the ground supporting Pakistan.
Well, it was I had good advice from a fella called Paul Bacon and James Kennedy and Des Fahy from Tyrone, who kept shouting in my ear about Tyrone football. So I think that there's something about culture and a bit of civilised sport and Tyrone football. There's a contradiction there somewhere. Anyway.
In fact, it's the peace process.
In fact, there should be a law against that.
It's left us all in a state of confusion.
A most enjoyable day.
Well, I'm looking forward to another enjoyable day here in Croke Park today. Slightly different, it has to be said. Look, first and up, Armagh and Kerry, Joe. I mean, this is one that most people want to see today.
It's the start of the championship, really, and I suppose that Armagh are playing Kerry unexpectedly early. They didn't expect that. I mean, when you saw Kerry in the league final, they looked ruthless, they looked ready for battle, and then they've had the hiccup against Cork, and so all of a sudden people are saying, well, Kerry aren't the team that we think they are, sort of no arse in their trousers, and it could be a very dangerous game for Armagh.
Yeah, could be a very dangerous game for Armagh. There's no doubt about that. And I mean, from Kerry, we were talking to a few people here, Pat Spillane, Pa Laid, or here we were chatting to them earlier on, they're saying it's only kind of hanging in there in Kerry at the moment.
Yeah, and they've had to change their team around. Like in the league final, they looked as if they were the team of the year, and now they have had to change. And in some ways, it's the end game, because if Kerry lose today, I'd say you probably won't see the likes of Seamus Moynihan and maybe Darragh O'Shea. So it's also the end game for Armagh in that way, because maybe Kieran McGeeney, Paul McGrain, those sort of brilliant players that they have had over a decade. So one side has to lose out. So it's like Ali versus Fraser. It's the heavyweight division. It's the real thing here today, and it's something really to look forward to.
This is the game, obviously, that we want to concentrate on. But briefly, Colin, let's just talk about the second game on the programme here, because Cork and Donegal, I mean, again, there's an All-Ireland semi-final place on offer here.
Yeah, it may not have the same appeal, and I was just wondering why the two games weren't in reverse, but obviously there's other factors that play here. But again, it's just as intriguing, because what you have with Kerry and Armagh are two teams who've been around for a while, and now what you have in the second match is two teams who are trying to break into the top layer, and two of the young and up-and-coming teams who could win in All-Ireland the next couple of years if they can keep these teams together. So just as interesting a game. Not as many well-known players involved, but maybe the stars of the future.
Absolutely. Well, let's hear what the two managers from this first game have to say about today's game. It's been plain sailing for Joe Kernan and his Armagh team. Not quite so for Jack O'Connor and Kerry, who found themselves, of course, turned over in Munster. But what about today's face-off? Well, this is what they think.
Joe, talk to me about this particular clash, because you've had a month off. How have preparations been going, and what do you think about Kerry?
Well, first, the month has been good for us. We played 5 matches there in about 7 or 8 weeks, which was hard enough, and we picked up a few injuries. Thankfully, with the month's rest now and the treatment, most of those injuries have cleared up. The only one is Tony McEntee that won't be taking part today. So Philip Larkin, Brian Mall and Paddy McKeever are all 100% fit to play, and Peather Toll as well.
Let's just dwell on Kerry for a moment, because there's a lot of talk about Kieran Donaghy and his battle today with Francie Bellew. What did you make of Donaghy and the performance against Longford?
I think Kerry seemingly took a lot of criticism over this last month or so, and last Saturday they went out and proved that the criticism was unfounded. And then Kieran Donaghy at full forward, certainly he was a piece to their jigsaw that maybe they didn't have earlier in the year, and he played really well. And when 4 goals come off somebody, you have to be doing the thing right. So he certainly was a big danger, and we'll have to watch him today.
Jack, good to see Kerry back in Croke Park. How do you feel about this game?
We're really looking forward to it, Marty. The last time we were here was, we left here with our tails between our legs. This was after the All-Ireland final last year, so we're just dying to get back here, and it's a huge challenge ahead of us today with Armagh, but I think we're ready for it. I think we're coming into the game from a good angle, and, to be honest with you, because we're not favourites for a change, and that'll suit us.
Losing the Munster final and coming back to play Longford, how difficult was that?
it wasn't that difficult, Marty, to be honest with you, because you know, we knew there was more in the team, and you know, we regrouped very quickly after the replay, and we trained well for a week or 10 days, and obviously played well against Longford, but we realised that this is going to be a step up in intensity and class and that, but we're looking forward to it, because these are the days you'll train for.
Yes, that's the views of the managers before today's first game here at Croke Park. Armagh now have also taken to the field, and I suppose one of the things Colin O'Rourke and Joe Brodley, touching upon what Joe Kernan mentioned there, what we all want to know is, are Kerry going to pull the same kind of tactic that they did against Longford, worked against Longford, it mightn't work against Armagh?
Yeah, well, you know, they're putting a lot of pressure on young Donaghy, you know, who came from the underdog series, and he is a very good player, but to say he's the new Bomber might be stretching things a bit, but he's big, mobile, good hands. You know, at his best, the Bomber, the original Bomber listing, was probably the only player I have seen in Gaelic football who was almost unmarkable.
Yes.
Well, he was unmarkable.
He was.
He could do everything.
Yeah.
And he brought all
he's not the Bomber.
He brought all the other players into it, but Kieran Donaghy could be something similar. Kerry need a big man up there, and it's definitely a big improvement for them.
And he's got the basketball touches as well, Donaghy, to bring with him, and you can see that in the way he plays the ball.
And he uses his left hand to hand pass well, he uses his right hand to hand pass well. He's great in the air, and he's got a great attitude. His game is a pheasant. But, you know, they're very strong attributes. The difficulty is, of course, that although people are billing it as Francie Bellew against Kieran Donaghy, it's not that at all.
Yes.
It's Kieran Donaghy against Armagh's blanket defence. And, you know, there's just not going to be that sort of room. I mean, against Longford, he was marking a naive fullback who stood back off him, didn't play in front of him.
Yeah, but you can still kick in the ball high.
Of course.
You know,
he can, and he
works.
gives structure, and the other thing is that he's totally selfless.
Yes.
So unlike what we've seen with Kerry forwards in the last wee while, he doesn't want to go and score himself. He'd get the ball, he led off without any difficulties. He's always looking, and if you've got players of the calibre of Cooper and Russell to finish, you know, it's going to be dangerous. But you know, they're going to be living on scraps today. This is going to be a titanic battle, and Kerry are going to have to be ready for 70 minutes of grind.
Oh, I said they will, there's no doubt about that. Well, it's a Saturday afternoon here in Dublin. Plenty of supporters from both teams, and of course in the second two teams from Cork and Donegal coming up along as well to have a look at both of these games here on Croke Park. Next year on the programme, do stay with us, because when we come back and ahead of the Armagh-Kerry game, a chance for you to win a very nice prize for this year's championship. Back in just a few minutes. Now, on the RTE Bank of Ireland Man of the Match competition today, you have a chance to win 2 tickets to the Bank of Ireland All-Ireland Senior Football Semi-Finals on August 20th, plus overnight accommodation for 2 in the Burlington Hotel. Now, each competition winner will also be entered into a draw to win 2 tickets for the All-Ireland Football Final, and that is courtesy of Bank of Ireland. To enter, all you have to do is select your man of the match from today's Armagh versus Kerry game. If your chosen player matches the man of the match selected by the Saturday game panel, then you'll be in with a chance to win. To enter, call 1515 717182, or you can text match followed by your man of the match to 57111. Viewers from Northern Ireland can also call 0901 0630 118. There are details on RT Airtel page 193, and those lines remain open until 3:30 today, and the winner then will be announced at the end of today's first match. Yep, have a bit of fun with that. Now let's hear from our match commentator right now as he takes us through the team lineups for the meeting of Armagh and Kerry, and we say good afternoon to Ger Canning.
Good afternoon, Michael. Let's check on the teams then, as you say, and it's an Armagh team that is unchanged from the side that started the Ulster final against Donegal. Francie Bellew, starting his 30th championship match, is bound to be a pivotal figure at full back, while at the other end of the field the Ulster champions are looking for a bumper afternoon from leading scorers Stevie MacDonald and Oisin McConville. The Crossmaglen player has overtaken Peter Canavan as Ulster's leading scorer of all time, and today, fittingly, it's his 50th championship appearance. Well, the Kerry management has made one change from the team that started against Longford in the qualifiers last Saturday. Sean O'Sullivan gets his first championship start for 3 years and replaces Darren O'Sullivan on the right wing. Another O'Sullivan, Declan, returns to the bench, having played half a game in Killarney. Colm Cooper continues as captain, playing in a forward line with 3-goal Owen Brosnan and the imposing figure of full forward Kieran Donaghy.
Yeah, Kieran Donaghy demanded there's, I suppose, a certain amount of pressure on this afternoon, but if he plays the way he did last weekend down in Killarney, then he's certainly well up to the task. Speaking of which, Colm O'Rourke, you've been looking at Armagh, they're set up the way they play. Very central to this, and this particular thing we're talking about with Kieran Donaghy is Francie Bellew, and also getting that fast ball forward then into their forwards.
Yeah, well, I suppose Armagh going to play the same way no matter who they're playing. It wouldn't be fair to say they're mechanical, but they're methodical and they're composed, and they will keep playing the same irrespective of the score. And I think their best player this year nearly has been Francie Bellew. He's as brave as a lion. You see him there blocking down the kick against, you know, he used to be a sort of a figure of fun at one stage, but he has developed into a very good footballing fullback, and I think his best game that I have seen him playing was against Donegal in the Ulster final. Brilliant hands here behind his man, and he really wiped out Adrian Sweeney on that day. You know, I called him Stonewall Bellew after Stonewall Jackson. There was Stonewall Dixon in Meath in the 50s, but he really is that defiant type of spirit. And they also are not afraid to kick the ball forward, because they have brilliant inside men like Stevie McDonald, who hasn't had a great year this year, but has been more than compensated for by the form of Ronan Clark, who has been very good in all the games and has probably been the most improved player on the Armagh team. And you can see him here against Fermanagh too, coming out, getting the ball at beautiful long range points. So Armagh's style doesn't change. They'll keep doing the same things in the belief that when it comes to the last 10 minutes they will crack the opposition. And again, we have Clark here, you know, the strength of character to go for scores when they needed them as well. So Armagh, you know, really a team to admire. They play it hard and fair, and I think that, you know, they have been the most consistent team over the last 6 years. But if they don't win this year, a lot of their hard work sort of gets forgotten.
Well, there's no doubt at all about it. They are a serious outfit at the moment, but what about Kerry? Can they make themselves real championship contenders again? Kieran Donaghy we've been talking about, particularly after his performance the last day. But look, the Gooch
sort of
is the one man that
thing.
really you should be talking about on big match days like today.
Well, I think that the Gooch is, you know, destined in due course, I would have thought, to be the greatest player of his generation. I mean, he's got everything. He's just one of those people like Maradona, you know. He just sort of comes from the heavens, like. When he started out,
this is the Gooch of old, if that's not too unfair to a player who's in his early 20s. I mean,
look at the beautiful composure, the calmness, the passing of the ball into the net, you know, the extra thing that ordinary footballers don't have, regardless of how hard they work. You know, they can never hope to play the way that he can play. I mean, McMenamin had everything covered, did the right thing, sent him down his left side, you know, on the outside. And then all of a sudden, something that we never thought we'd see, the Gooch losing his confidence. Now, I know it's been very difficult for him, and he's had a difficulty since his father died, and all of that, and that's a very difficult thing for a young person to grapple with. But from the purely footballing point of view, it's put a huge dent in Kerry's football plan. And I mean, look at that. I mean, last year, 2005, he kicked 2 wides in the whole championship. 2 wides in the whole championship. And this year, I think he has scored 1-3 in the course of 5 games, which is something that you never thought you'd see. So it'll be interesting to see how he copes with that crisis of confidence.
Yeah, well, I suppose any star player of his magnitude, if he's not going well, the team has to suffer for it. Let's get predictions, lads. Who's going to win this game, Colm O'Rourke?
Well, you know, I was unsure for a while. Now I just can't make up my mind, and normally I plumb for one or the other. You know, if I was a Kerry man, I'd be saying this is a day for redemption, to put all the ills of the past when they couldn't beat an Ulster team behind them. But, you know, Armagh are so strong, and they have been so composed this year that on all known form in the championship, as distinct from the league, it would look like Armagh.
Joe?
Armagh are a better team than they were in 2002. Kerry have shown consistently against Tyrone twice and against Armagh that they cannot cope with the blanket defence. Last year in the All-Ireland final, knowing exactly how Tyrone would play, they still weren't able to cope with it. They hadn't moved on an inch from 2003. And, you know, although there's a huge motivation for Kerry and a personal motivation, I mean, when Cork were the last team to win the 2 in a row, Billy Morgan said they won it because they despised Meath so much. And Kerry have got a lot of that, because you think of the stick they've taken over the last 5 or 6 years about Ulster teams, Tyrone and Armagh. Nonetheless, Armagh aren't really moved by things like that. And I must say, I find it hard to envisage Armagh not winning this game, grinding it out over 70 minutes, even if Kerry, as I expect, have a great start to the game.
There you have it, folks. 2 votes for Armagh, hesitantly maybe, from the panel. Well, it's time to sit back and enjoy the action right now. And that's the cue to hand over to the commentary box, where we hear from Ger Canning, who has Martin Carney alongside him.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. So our cricket correspondents have gone for Armagh, and we'll just have to wait and see. 70 minutes to resolve the opening Bank of Ireland quarter-final on a very humid afternoon here in Dublin. This the opening match, very high-profile game, and Kerry and Seamus Moynihan would just love to get one over on the Ulster champions. Alongside me, Martin Carney, and well, you know, we're considering the battle between this man here and Kieran Donaghy. That's going to be one of those intriguing ties.
Yes, indeed, Gerard. Certainly is one of the things I'm looking forward to, is seeing how Francie Bellew copes with Kieran Donaghy. But there are other issues also, like throughout the field. Again, the battle between Mark O'Shea, I'd say, and Stephen McDonnell will be worth watching. And again, Paul McGrain and Darragh O'Shea in the middle of the field will have an immense kind of contest, I think, between one another. But from a Kerry point of view, I think there are a lot of uncertainties about them, both in terms of form, formation and style. And yet, as against that, if they cannot find the motivation today and the desire to win, then I'm afraid for them the end is nigh. And it'll be a shame to see maybe that it's a reality, but we may not see the likes of Seamus Moynihan, Darragh O'Shea, Michael Frank Russell in Croke Park again if they lose today.
It's interesting when you look through Armagh and Kieran McGeeney, a central figure for them in the centre of the park. And you remember last year, All-Ireland semi-final against Tyrone, he was taken off and you thought that was the end of that. And he's back, dare I say, almost better than ever. Just before we get your reaction to that, Martin, there's going to be a minute's silence now, a very sad occasion, because Andy McCann, of course, whom so many people will know as the left half back on wonderful Armagh teams, well, his daughter very tragically died in a car accident. That's Caoimhe McCann, very tragically died, I think it was during the past week, following an accident, and everybody deeply, deeply distressed as a result of what has happened. Our thoughts are very, very much with the McCann family. We've got to continue with football.
Yeah, just going back to Kieran McGeeney, actually, Ger, I think the main thing about Kieran McGeeney, he is the leader. Even though he's not captain this year, he's the spiritual leader. He sets the tone for the other players. Again, he's a very aggressive player. He's part of the group that has perfected this Armagh system. And he's so strong, so stubborn. And again, one of the things I think sometimes that isn't fully appreciated, he's probably the best foot passer of the ball in the game at the moment. And again, if he plays well, I think everything good that's in Armagh will come from him.
He's sharing the final words there with the team captain today, Paul McGrain. So it's a day where something has got to give. Two of the heavyweights in this year's championship. Joe Kernan has worked his team to get to this stage. The match referee, David Coldrick from Meath, supported by Jerry Knievy and Peter O'Reilly, who are his linesmen for this afternoon. A crowd I would anticipate around about 25,000-30,000 here present at this stage. I'm sure it will swell as the afternoon goes on. But we're ready for action. And the opening quarter-final gets underway. It was Kerry who won the toss, and they've opted to play from left to right in the first half. Early possession for Paul Duffy, giving it to Paul McGrain, the Ballyhagan player, down towards Stevie McDonnell. Clashing there with Darragh O'Shea. Referee awarding the free kick to Armagh.
Yeah, there was no real menace in that, actually. I think it was just an accidental collision against Stevie Mack, came out worst of it, and again in free.
They look for Ronan Clark inside from that free kick. Played back once again to John McEntee. Going for it with the left boot, it's on its way. Has it the distance? Not quite. Player in the square, however, and that was Stevie McDonnell, free out. Very nearly carried that time for John McEntee, playing today in his 43rd championship match. Big long kick on a very still afternoon in Dublin, so the wind is not a factor. Here's a chance. Clark fisting, and he's put it over the bar. Ronan Clark from Pearse Oak. First point of the match, just over a minute gone. Kerry in major difficulty here with that dreadful kick out by Diarmuid Murphy, and they really got penalised.
Yeah, I was just going to compliment Diarmuid Murphy and his composure earlier there, the way he dealt with the high ball, but again panicked a little bit with the clearance. Very alert Ronan Clark was and put it over the bar.
Well, the kick-outs have been causing some problems in recent matches. This is a much better one. Can Kerry win their own kick-out? The answer, no. Paul McGrain coming, surrounded by Kerry players. Referee gives the free kick to Armagh. Aaron Kernan ready to strike. Kieran McGeeney stepping away from trouble. Lofting it down once again towards Stevie McDonald, who got isolated. Got a good first run on it and puts it over the bar. Ominous for Kerry. Armagh doing as they will, winning it in midfield, accurate passing into McDonald, and another score results.
Well, I'm not saying it's robotic or anything, but the quality of that ball again from McGeeney, absolutely on the button as regard accuracy, and again a very confident strike from Stevie McDonald.
This time it's Darragh O'Shea who wins the kick out, pursued there by Paul McGrain, 30 metres out. Up there is Moynihan, played inside still by Brosnan. He's got it! Owen Brosnan, who got 3 goals last week, has got another here. He is Kerry's leading goal scorer, and that is his 12th ever in Championship football. In the 3rd minute, a wonderful passing movement. Moynihan was up there, ran away from Owen Brosnan, but he still had enough to toe poke it in past Paul Hirty.
That's a blistering drive from Owen Brosnan. Again, he lost control of the ball. Interesting that time, Seamus Moynihan up in the attack, but again a fabulous finish. Paul Hirty could do nothing about it.
Kerry's first attack, and they take the lead. Promising start. Aidan O'Mahony fouled. Free kick to Kerry. Hit hard by the concession of those 2 early points. Coming back strongly now with Paul Galvin. Into open space. But Gooch mistimes his jump. Back there instead. Supporting Enda McNulty. This is the other quarterback, Andy Mallon. Fisted away towards Malachy Macken. Back from his left half forward position. Paul Duffy trying to get the ball away in some difficulty. Lost his boot. Got enough on it, however. Line ball will be to Kerry. Or is it going to be the case? Armagh anxious to take it as well. Referee in there with his linesman Peter O'Reilly from Longford determining that it's going to be an Armagh ball.
Yeah, I think quite clearly it was an Armagh ball. I think it came off Sean O'Sullivan actually, and again Kieran McKinney is just waiting for his left half back Paul Duffy to tie up his bootlace before he takes the line ball.
I think they were unclear that time as to whose boot had come loose. McGeeney, big one down. Oisin McConville beaten for possession there, taken neatly by Tom O'Sullivan. Darragh O'Shea back helping out, some 35 metres out from his own goal. Wins the free kick. Comes out smartly here to Tommy Griffin from Undangan. Sean O'Sullivan now from Croman. Bad pass under pressure. Back there to mop it up again is Kieran McGeeney, sweeping across the line in front of his own half-back line. Loose ball. Seamus Moynihan here. Finding Darragh O'Shea. Quick look up, going long towards the Gooch. Takes it into his chest. Dished it off well there towards Sean O'Sullivan. Looking for another Kerry score, and he puts it over the bar. Well, he's on a point a game since his return, Sean O'Sullivan. Last game here at Croke Park was that semi-final against Tyrone, and Kerry have never forgotten that. It was in 2003. Good piece of passing, good finish there by O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and again Colin Cooper showing very well in front of Enda McNulty that time, and again textbook support play from Sean O'Sullivan, who finishes off with a very confident strike. A great score for Kerry.
Jack O'Connor will be very encouraged. They come back strongly. 2 attacks of their own, and they got a goal and a point. Great fetch taken down by John McEntee. As you heard in the interview earlier on, his brother Tony cannot play today, but Martin O'Rourke is very definitely there. Here he is, cutting inside. O'Mahony presenting the challenge. Played back once again here towards Macken. Loose ball, toe poked forward, but only as far as Tommy Griffin of Kerry. Challenged there by Aaron Kernan. Dodges away. Plenty of support. Needs to play the ball away. Held up by Malachy Macken. Free awarded to Kerry. Galvin the taker. Tomas O'Shea now. Finding Moynihan, who was involved in the build-up to the goal. Huge one in. and the big man takes it. Donaghy there, dished off there towards Mike Frank Russell. Mike Frank under pressure, gets his shot in but can't put it in on target. And Donaghy will be pleased to have won that first duel there with Francie Bellew.
Yeah, that's the first of the anticipated Scud missiles we have seen. Again, he won that very confidently in the air. Again, just a little slip pass out to Michael Frank, who might have made better use of it.
It really is a very, very warm afternoon at Croke Park. All eyes on Francie Bellew and Kieran Donaghy. Before the match, Donaghy was down there on his own about an hour beforehand, just visualising his movements, hands in the air, trying to anticipate how he's going to catch and so on. Here's Paul McGrain. Paul Duffy having a very good season. Kieran McKeever. Again, it's Kieran McGeeney, the geezer as they call him. Long ball intended for MacDonald, anticipated however, and it's Mark O'Shea who's out there. Kerry's outstanding defender this season, Mark O'Shea. Little block on it there from McGeeney. Duffy coming across to try and collect, helped out there by Aaron Kernan. Armagh win it back. McGrain the captain. Oh, bad ball. Moynihan should have mopped it up, didn't do so. Needed support from Tom O'Sullivan from Rathmore. Fouled. Free kick to Kerry.
Already there's a wonderful ebb and flow to the game. Again, Kerry settled in very well to it. Seamus Moynihan covering across his half-back line very well. And again, Kieran McGeeney playing a very interesting role straight in front of his centre half-back.
Well, they're playing their possession game sensibly. They're holding it up in their own half, and then they're both teams prepared to go long with good measured passes. Aidan O'Mahony. Here he is. Darragh O'Shea. McEntee trying to close it down. Slipping. O'Shea has the chance. From a fair old distance out, he's put it to the left, and he'll be disappointed with that. Kerry's second wide. He's been in good scoring form this season. Got a couple against Cork down in Porky Queeve. Great Armagh support as per usual. They've sold about 15,000 tickets, and they were anticipating another couple of thousand here would come into the game from in and around the Dublin area. Darragh O'Shea again coming up there against Paul McGrain. The referee again awarding a free kick.
Yeah, I can see why Paul McGrain is angry that time actually. He felt that he was pushed by Tommy Griffin as he's going to contest that high ball with Darragh O'Shea, and I think he has a case actually.
Kerry had been awarded the free kick. Paul Galvin getting himself into difficulty, so he's got a ticking for what O'Reilly said, and the referee has cancelled the free kick. He's got to throw the ball in instead. Foolish. The two big midfielders, and it's won by McGrain. McEntee there too. Comes back out to McGeeney. Into open space. Martin O'Rourke fed ahead here to Stevie MacDonald. Angle getting acute. Mark O'Shea tracking him and doing enough to put MacDonald off his stride. Just a lapse in concentration there, misjudging the final shot. Kerry still leading by 2 points.
Yeah, again we see consistently the try and isolate actually Stephen McDonald and Ronan Clark inside, and again the quality of the ball coming in is outstanding, but Mark O'Shea has stuck to his guns very well, forced Steve McDonald onto the narrow side that time, and as a result the ball went wide.
And Oisin McConville in all of this is playing as a withdrawn centre forward. Tomas O'Shea spilling it. Malachi Mackin losing it. Referee had seen a foul. Free kick once again to Armagh. John McEntee ready to hit, waiting for the run. Good movement by Martin O'Rourke from Drummond T. Too long that time for Ronan Clark. Well, we had a blistering start, opening 5 minutes. Very intriguing indeed, full of scores. Next 5 minutes, well, a bit of the settling down, some mistakes coming in. Huge occasion. Armagh would just love to get a victory over Kerry once again in this year's championship, and Kerry wanting a big victory against one of the big two. Well, they can't play Tyrone, they're out of the championship, but they could beat Armagh. They're leading at the moment. McGrain the free taker, it's big one down to the two inside forward players, runs all the way through, and Diarmuid Murphy secure. Again picking out Tomas O'Shea, who picks out Seamus Moynihan, worked towards Tommy Griffin. Nobody to close him immediately. Good support play. Tom O'Sullivan, huge run down, spilled there by the Gooch as far as Kieran McGeeney, back time and again in and around his own back line, scrapping as he used to do when he wore the number 6 shirt, of course. O'Rourke on here for John McEntee. Dropped the first one short. This next one is measured brilliantly and it's over the bar. 1 point the difference, and McEntee gets his first. Well, he had learned, I think, by the experience first time out, and this time he gave it that extra little bit of effort. Lovely follow through with the left boot right over the crossbar.
Yeah, such a languid style, and again helped somewhat that time by Aidan O'Mahony losing his balance, but a beautifully stroked pound.
In the build-up to all of that last point, there was a body check by Stephen McDonnell on one of the Kerry backs. Again, the pressure in on the Kerry full-back line. Everybody appealing for it. The referee has blown his whistle. Kerry don't like the judgment one little bit because it's going to be a 13-metre free, and Mike McCarthy there arguing the point with David Coldrick.
Yeah, and I think Mike McCarthy has a case again that time. Again, a bit of cuteness by the Armagh corner forward that time in more or less orchestrating that free. But again, a very soft kick, actually. I think it's Oisin McConville about to take it.
Oisin McConville, who's got 220 points so far in championship action. There's his first of the afternoon from the free. The usual style. Body almost back to the end line. Turns, kicks with great style. Teams level. Short kick out as far as Seamus Moynihan. Nobody tracking him. Worked in as far as Tomas O'Shea. Going very long. Carries in towards Kieran Donaghy. Touched out towards the gooch, and Francie Bellew getting it at the second time. Mike Frank was looking at the referee, and the referee looks at Armagh, taking the ball out through Enda McNulty. Worked in here to Kieran McKeever. Out as far as Malachi Mackin. Great pace and movement. Paul McGrain. Cut out by Moynihan with difficulty. Didn't play all that well against Longford. Questions asked about him at that stage. He's here to answer his critics, to show that he's still very, very much on top of his game, even at 32 years of age. Galvin. Challenged there by Aaron Kernan. Out over the sideline. Line ball to Armagh.
Yeah, textbook tackling that time again from Aaron Kernan, the way he shepherded him out over the sideline. That's great defending.
Some great play. McEntee, huge one down towards Martin O'Rourke. Fisted away from him, however. And Aidan O'Mahony once again on top of the job. Very alert play by O'Mahony. Oisin McConville might fancy his chances of having a go from here. Again, let me emphasise, little or no breeze around this afternoon. Perfect day for football, perfect conditions. Well, they're calling it wide, and the umpires concur. Missed opportunity, teams still level.
Yeah, far too ambitious that time, I think, from Oisin McConville, who was way outside his range. Again, but there was very little movement inside, actually, from the Armagh forward to give him an option.
David Murphy has been busy with his kickouts so far. Mackin going back, got a little touch on it. McGray next. Here's Paul Duffy. Kicked away. Held in there by Mike Frank Russell. Back to Sean O'Sullivan, a point scorer already. Francie Bellew anticipating here. Winning the duels now against Kieran Donaghy. Just listen to the crowd, fully appreciating what Bellew's able to do, and Donaghy gets a black ticking for that, or a black card. John McEntee challenged there by the other number 11, the goal scorer Owen Brosnan, and the referee says he fouled.
And that's a lot of good work by Francie Bellew, undone actually by John McEntee, being somewhat indecisive in what he was doing there.
That's a great catch. It's Kieran Donaghy, game and willing 23-year-old, 6'4" tall, plays for the Tralee Tigers, and he's won himself a free kick 20 metres out, and Francie Bellew gets a ticking for that foul. What a contest they're having.
Yeah, really tasty one, Jaron. Again, double teamed by both McGeaney and Bellew that time, but strong enough to hold on to possession, and now gives Colin Cooper a great opportunity.
And a great opportunity to open the scoring for himself and work on his confidence. That'll do him a lot of good. Straight over the bar. Fans are happy. Kerry fans may not be here in the same kind of numbers that Armagh are supported by, but they're still a very, very good contingent after making their way up from the southwest. So that Kerry's first score in 11 minutes means they're back in front again. Paul Hearty, omitted from the first 2 matches of the championship against Monaghan. Darragh O'Shea contesting with John McEntee. Touchdown, McEntee has it. Free kick awarded. Again, waiting for the movement ahead of him. Movement coming from Ronan Clark. Did he get a little push? He did. Mike McCarthy might be shown the notebook for that.
I know that both Mike McCarthy and Mark O'Shea are very alert and aware as to what Stephen McDonald and Ronan Clark are where they're going to go actually for those free kicks, but they're still those two Armagh forwards are so difficult to track, and again just a little bit of panic on the part of McCarthy that time give away the free.
Well, he may well have been ticked earlier on, so we'll just see if the referee is going to give him a yellow card at this stage. Still not quite finished with the Kilcommon player. Looks like being the first yellow. There it is. So it gives Armagh a chance, with Aaron Kernan coming up to kick and to put it over the bar. Nice score. Teams level once again, level for the second time.
Interesting thing actually with the Kerry kickouts, Darren Murphy has been trying to play it short on a number of occasions, because around the middle of the park I think Armagh are mopping up most of the breaks at the moment.
He just got caught very badly with one of them, didn't he, for the second score that Armagh got. It's fisted down by McGrain, but he was tugging on the Kerry man's jersey. Free to Kerry. This is the 20th free kick of a match, which as you can see is only 18 minutes old. Tells its own story about the tight competitiveness of it. Enda McNulty down as far as Paul McGrain. Nothing that Tommy Griffin could do about that to challenge effectively. It runs all the way through, dangerously in. Touchdown! And that is put over the bar by McDonald after it had been played to him by Ronan Clark. It's his second, but there was a goal there for the taking that he knew all about. Maybe it came awkwardly at him. Just watch the little knockback here by Ronan Clark. Oh, he was intent on keeping it down.
Yeah, he'll be very disappointed indeed with that. Wonderful perception of Ronan Clark. He was running blind actually with Michael McCarthy. Had enough awareness to flick it down. Should have been finished in the back of the net.
Again, the ball spilling around there as far as Kieran McKeever. Malachi Mackin now. So much possession won by Armagh. So much ball going in dangerously to the 2 men inside. Clark this time. Cut out here by Mark O'Shea. Over towards Tom O'Sullivan. Here's Tommy Griffin. Wins his place back into midfield, but it's a Kerry midfield that's been changed repeatedly in this year's championship. Andy Mallon beating Mike Frank Russell rather easily. Out as far as Aaron Kernan. Down towards John McEntee, couldn't hold on to it. He's appealing to the referee that he was being pushed. The referee not interested, but this time he is. And there's got to be a free to Kerry.
Yeah, a little bit of sloppy football that time again from Aaron Kernan. Again, dropping balls that they should have held on to. Both John McEntee and himself should have got rid of that further up into the attack.
Here's Aidan O'Mahony. Again, going long, testing Francie Bellew. Hoping that it can break there from Donaghy. This time it does towards Mike Frank Russell. Comes back to Paul Galvin. And that is on its way. His first. Paul Galvin tying it up once again. And that is the third time the sides have been level. Donaghy was involved, right in the mix that time. A little bit of work for Mike Frank to do. Getting it back to Paul Galvin onto the left boot. Very good piece of shooting.
Yeah, sweet point indeed that time from Paul Galvin, but I should say there, Kieran Donaghy central to it. Again, the piece is picked up very effectively by Michael Frank Russell, and a decisive finish. Again, some great football from both sides, it must be said, after 20 minutes.
Attention there for Sean O'Sullivan from Sarah Hobbs, who is one of the physios looking after Kerry. There was a ticking for Enda McNulty following the last piece of action. Referee has been busy. Jack O'Connor busy up and down, pacing along the line. An intense match. Two very evenly matched teams. Two of the sides that so many people are talking about in terms of being potential champions. Tommy Griffin. Huge one again in towards Donaghy. Bellew there as well. What a catch by Francie Bellew from Crossmaglen. Two big men having a fascinating contest, and there's an Armagh player down on the ground. Paul Galvin was involved from a Kerry point of view. It's played out to Kieran McKeever. The player down is Kieran McGeeney. Play continues with Martin O'Rourke, getting there ahead of Aidan O'Mahony. Drops short to Dermot Murphy. Armagh down to 14 men at the moment. They've got an injured player, and it's Seamus Moynihan coming away with it. Out as far as Tommy Griffin. Teams level. Griffin setting off once more. Sean O'Sullivan recovered. Three Armagh players are after him. O'Sullivan stopped there by Kieran McKeever and by Paul McGrain. Getting it out to Paul Duffy. Battling performance out to Aaron Kernan. The injured Armagh player is back on the field once again. That was McGeeney. McEntee comes out to Paul McGrain. Here's Kieran McKeever into open space towards Martin O'Rourke, winning the duel there against Aidan O'Mahony. Quick look around, support from Kieran McKeever, prepared to break time and again from centre half back. Going long, big one towards Clark, the little touch for McDonald, goal! 23 minutes are gone. Stevie McDonald gets his first goal of the afternoon. His 17th ever for Joe Kernan's team. Wonderful long ball in here. Causes problems. It's caused problems time and again. Clark combining with McDonald. McDonald finishing brilliantly.
Well, the fundamentals of that time of Gaelic football at their very best. The quality of the kick from Kieran McKeever, the awareness of Ronan Clark, the support of Stephen McDonald, the awareness then just to hold his ground, stay patient, go around the goalkeeper Dermot Murphy. Fabulous finish.
The referee has some unfinished business from one of the last challenges. Paul Galvin had fouled Kieran McGeeney, I think it was. He was on a ticking earlier on, and now he's going to get a yellow card once all this jostling is finished, and he's got himself a card, and that's two Kerry players now who've seen yellow.
Yeah, I think that goes back actually the incident that he had with Kieran McGeeney when he tackled Kieran McGeeney late. The referee has let the game flow, allowed the game to kind of come to a completion with that goal, and then sensibly go back and book them.
It's hotting up into the centre of the park. Darrow Shea, quick look around from 45 metres, 50 metres out, in towards Donaghy again, spills this time. It needs the intervention of Paul Hearty. Very calm, picking out Paul Duffy. Support from Enda McNulty, plays for Nafiana nowadays, of course. Francie Bellew. Oh, he's rugged, he's determined. Gets it down to his team captain McGrain, dished off to Malachi Mackin. 11 minutes to go to half time. Kieran McKeever holding possession, wanting to toy with Kerry. Two sides with many experienced men in there. One of them, McGeeney, going long, down towards Oisin McConville. And Oisin McConville is now 30 years of age, winning the free kick. Down quickly to Martin O'Rourke. Inside towards the goal scorer for Armagh, McDonald. Will be happy with a point this time. Trying to squeeze it in off the post. Reacting quickest of all was Tom O'Sullivan. He was pulled back by the jersey. Free kick. Quickly out to Darrow Shea. Wonderful pace to the game. Tommy Griffin, about to be challenged by Malachi Mackin. Gets away easily. Galvin, the player who had that yellow card just a moment ago. Challenged by Paul McGrain. He was waiting for something, and in the end the referee says that was not a fair challenge to Paul McGrain. Free kick to Kerry.
Good call by the referee. Indeed it was a foul in that case.
This is won brilliantly here, and once again it's Kieran McGeeney who's prepared to go back in front of Francie Bellew and make sure that Kieran Donaghy is in between the two of them. So if Bellew doesn't get it from behind, McGeeney will win the ball from the front. That's the tactic. Martin O'Rourke now blocked, comes back to Aidan O'Mahony once again. Spills. Darrow Shea with work to do. Whose line ball is that going to be? It's got to be an Armagh ball, it seems. Well, is he going to give it that way, or should it be a Kerry ball? Well, the referee needs some help here.
Definitely should be a Kerry ball. I've never loved an Armagh, but definitely.
Linesman's changed his mind, and it's definitely going to be a Kerry ball. Referee having to overrule his assistant that time. Martin O'Rourke, the player who is now in need of some attention from the physio Owen O'Neill. I tell you what, the players are going to be mighty glad of the break here. This is the challenge a little while ago here. Watch Paul Galvin coming in on McGeaney, and for that he got himself a yellow card.
Yeah, he brought his knee across into Kieran McGeaney's chest. I thought Kieran McGeaney went down easily initially when I saw it, but it was a definite charge by Galvin in that case. Deservedly got a yellow card for it.
Martin O'Rourke has now got a ticking for what he did there. Up as far as Galvin, back again it'll come. It's going to be a free to Kerry. Kieran McKeever has also been ticked. Referee must have ticked most of the players on the park at this stage, bar the goalkeepers.
Yeah, I think Kieran McKeever at that time was falling off the ball, and I think that's what the referee blew for.
Needs eyes at the back of his head. He's doing well. And that is a foul on the gooch. Enda McNulty was coming from behind. Referee now having words with the Na Fianna player. Just explaining it all away to a man who is playing in his 45th championship game. He's been ticked already, so this should be the first yellow card for an Armagh player. Referee being very consistent. And he's busy.
He's busy, but he's refereeing it very well, it must be said. He's keeping a lid on things. He's calling fouls in the correct situations. And again, if there's any kind of niggly play, he's immediately getting on top of it. And I think he should be very happy with his performance up to now.
So a free from Mike Frank Russell with the right boot. He's missed it. Oh, that was a really good chance. Well, he's a confidence player, and that won't do the confidence very much good.
Yeah, there wasn't any great rhythm in that kick at all. He snatched it somewhat, and again, as you said, for a player who kind of thrives in confidence, that'll be quite demoralising for him.
Scored 3 points against Armagh in the 2002 All-Ireland final. Could have done with something there. Paul Hirty. Wides level so far as you can see, but 3 between them on the all-important scoring. Armagh the leaders. Aaron Kernan. Big one in towards the 2-man inside forward line. O'Sullivan needing the intervention there of Mike McCarthy. Out as far as Tomas O'Shea. Kerry with just 4 scores so far. The all-important goal scored by Brosnan after 3 minutes. Tommy Griffin worked ahead towards the goal scorer once more. This time enterprisingly for Donaghy, who peeled to the right. Back to Mike Frank Russell. This one is well off the target again. A couple of wretched moments now for the Lone Rangers player there.
Yeah, he's had a few very disappointing efforts there, and it must be said at the moment, in a general context, Armagh much more composed, much more assured, very, very well organised, and playing the better football. Again, there's not enough movement in the Kerry forward line, and those two last efforts by Michael Frank Russell epitomise in many respects the inadequacies of the Kerry forwards at the moment.
I think one of the things that's important about the way that Joe Kernan has matched up his team this afternoon, every time Kerry get the ball around midfield, they know they're going to shoot long, and so McGeaney comes back immediately into the full back line in front of Donaghy.
Yeah, playing a very smart game indeed. A little bit of a libero out there at the moment, just sweeping in front of them and picking up anything that's loose.
Here's Owen Brosnan. Killarney man trying to race away from Kieran McKeever, supported by Tommy Griffin. Nobody there for it. All the gaps sealed off. Enda McNulty this time. Down to McKeever once again. Rather leaving it to Paul Duffy. Now Bellew. This is the other cornerback, Andy Mallon. Return pass once again to Mellon for Malachy Mackin. Down to Stevie McDonnell. Tom O'Sullivan having a very, very torrid afternoon. Difficult to keep tabs on a player who's very much in form. Mentioned in form, Ronan Clark is really having a good championship. 23 years of age now. Not the best of balls to McDonnell. There were other options. Here's one. Martin O'Rourke kicking, looking, but failing to hit the target. Missed opportunity.
Yeah, you just got to admire their patience there again. They played the ball around from one to the other. Okay, I know Martin O'Rourke's eventual effort was very disappointing, but just their ability to find each other and to just stay composed is most admirable.
The view from behind the goal. Again, it's Owen Brosnan, who's played a lot in midfield. O'Mahony hand passing it outside here to the on-running Mark O'Shea, checking his stride. Tommy Griffin going long. Donaghy this time peeling to the left. He's done that a few times. Bellew's after him. and Donaghy's lost it. Football and a bit of composure. And Armagh have the sideline ball. Good work by Francie Bellew.
Well, I'm not saying that the snarling Francie Bellew has put the frighteners on Kieran Donaghy, but he's certainly unsettled him, and some of his, of the balls that he's won in aerial tussles have certainly given Bellew great confidence, and again taken a little bit of confidence out of Donaghy.
Well, Bellew has been spoken to, he's been ticked already, so it's going to be another yellow. Two yellows for Armagh, two for Kerry as well. It's just a rugged contest there between Bellew and Donaghy. That's a trip there on Paul Galvin. He wants to take the free kick, might leave it for one of his colleagues, however. Interesting to see now how Kerry decide to deploy Kieran Donaghy, whether they're going to persist with him in on the edge of the small square, or whether for a while they might bring him into midfield and just vary it a little bit. Here's Sean O'Sullivan. Coming down, dropping from the clouds. Hearty has it comfortably. That's a number of frees now missed by Kerry, and they're still 3 points behind. And they can't afford to have inconsistency like that with their free taking against opponents as doughty and talented as Armagh. Martin O'Rourke dragged around.
Yeah, but again, Martin O'Rourke went down very easily that time from Aidan O'Mahony, and I can see why Aidan O'Mahony feels aggrieved about that particular free against him.
Little bit of niggle here and there. McEntee back to Martin O'Rourke. Here's McGuinney. Dropped in towards Clark again. Good play that time by McCarthy, but you can only keep them at bay so long, and McDonald there to pick up the pieces, and that's a point for McDonald, and he's now got a goal and 3 points out of a goal and 7 for the margin. Is there any way whatsoever of stopping this kind of attack? Because where Armagh are concerned, and McDonald in particular, he's got 4 scores from 6 shots.
Well, the 7 years of growing this style, and again you can see the perfection that they have managed to kind of apply to it, and again the twin threat of McDonald and Clark are totally on top at the moment.
Kerry are in trouble, even 2 minutes before half-time. That goal after 3 minutes by Owen Brosnan was such a crucial score to keep them in the hunt there in a meaningful way. There's an opportunity here for the Gooch. He's kicked it over the bar. Colm Cooper's second, and all 3 full forward players were involved that time. Donaghy touching it to Mike Frank. He had the assist for Cooper, and it's 1-7 to 1-4. Everybody involved. 2 shots for Cooper, 2 scores. Outside of the boot, nicely measured. Good technique.
And again, great credit to Kerry. They may be well out of the game around the middle of the field. They might be finding it hard to get in possession of the ball. But again, they're only 3 points down on the scoreboard, which is a great credit to their fighting spirit.
Well, great fighting spirit, as you say, Martin, but they've gone 13 minutes without a score. And before that, you may remember, they went 11 minutes without a score.
That's right, a little bit too sporadic, actually, with the scoring rate. They'd like to improve on that.
1 minute of additional time will be played. McEntee kicks it into the centre here. Again, Ronan Clark, determined and rugged, but this time fouls the ball. Kerry want possession, they want the free. They'd love another score before half-time. But it's not as if they're going to be playing with the wind behind them for the second half. There is no breeze of any great consequence this afternoon. Still and perfect day. Tom O'Sullivan out as far as Sean O'Sullivan. Going long to the 2-man inside forward, and Donaghy touching it. Gooch has a chance. Oh, great save by Hearty. The follow-up. Oh, it's put over the bar by Mike Frank. Wonderful save by Paul Hearty. 2 wonderful pieces of goalkeeping. Watch it here. Donaghy touching. This is the Gooch. That's stop number 1. Brilliant. And then the reaction to this one here. We'll watch it again here. This is the first save. But then when it spilled out to Mike Frank Russell, it was touched over the bar by the goalkeeper. And it's 1-7 to 1-5.
Well, the first save was a wonderful save, but the second one was truly inspirational again in deflecting it over the bar. But again, it must be said, all of that came about with a great ball from O'Sullivan into Donaghy, who at times when he gets the better value is causing trouble in there.
And it was also interesting that McGeady wasn't back that time. It's a fascinating quarter-final in the Bank of Ireland Championship. Kieran McGeeney and his colleagues racing away to the dressing room on the far side. Only 2 points between them. What a wonderful piece of goalkeeping we were given there moments ago by Paul Hearty, one of the stars of a match with many talking points. At half-time, it's Armagh 1-7, Kerry 1-5.
Welcome back again to the Saturday Game Live. Now, don't forget that later on we'll bring you the meeting of Cork and Donegal. That's at 4 o'clock. But right now, of course, we're watching this first All-Ireland quarter-final between Armagh and Kerry. Armagh leading Kerry 1 goal and 7 points to 1 goal and 5 points. Joe Bradley, Colm O'Rourke here with me in the studio. Colm, there was 29 frees in that first half, and yet it was a good, pacey, real championship stuff.
Yeah, most enjoyable game. You know, really and truly, you know, we've looked at a lot of rubbish football over the summer, and this is really living up to its billing. Maybe the ref was a little bit fussy. I thought, you know, there was times he could have let things go on again, because the spirit of the game is very positive. You know, you can look out there and everybody's going for the ball. There's no meanness, no nastiness, and whatever sort of tackles are taking place are fellas really fighting hard for the ball. So for me, it's a really enjoyable game. Armagh were, I thought, much the better team and probably should be a bit more in front. But Kerry have showed now in the last 5 minutes of the half, after giving away a goal, or Armagh scoring a brilliant goal, they've fought back well with 2 points, and I'd say they'll come out with renewed hope for the second half.
This is obviously a test of character, Joe, for both sides. Would it be fair to say it's a bigger test of Kerry here? Because for my money, they're hanging on a little bit.
Well, they are definitely hanging on. I mean, the goal was a bit fortuitous that Brosnan scored. Mind you, Brosnan has always been a threat to Armagh. He's a threat to any team. The way he marauders through the middle late. You know, it's like Frank Lampard playing for Chelsea. You know, coming late, that late run can be very difficult to pick up.
Yes.
He's got great pace. And he just flung his foot at it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what's kept him in the game. When you watch Armagh, you know, it's hard to avoid thinking that they've really honed the game down to its absolute basics, and they've got this basic game plan that's going to serve them, you know, in thick and thin. And
it's also fascinating to see, you know, the stature in which Francie Bellew is held by the fans, because every time, and he's been excellent for me, but they roar their approval of everything he does.
Absolutely, and he's getting great support from Kieran McGeeney, who's coming back in, and if it's knocked down, McGeeney's always around. And it's fascinating actually to watch from a tactical point of view, where we are up here high, and we see the two Armagh forwards isolated inside, standing very close to each other. Kerry full forward line playing in a much more orthodox fashion, and they're trying to put the ball in. And Donaghy has not been without success, but I think overall Francie Bellew has shaded that individual battle the first half, and Kerry playing, you know, they don't seem to have any other plan except land it in on top of them.
Sure. Let's come back again to that Owen Brosnan goal, Joe. As you said, he slightly lost control of it, but did the right thing in the end, put a toe to it.
It was. I mean, there's not that much to speak about it. I mean, it's just that Brosnan does make these very good late runs. You know, he's a slightly unorthodox sort of a footballer, and you often think when you watch him he's not that terribly skillful, and yet he has caused Armagh problems in the All-Ireland final and again today. And I mean, I suppose he'll say it was absolutely deliberate, and it was beautifully finished. But
well, he gets goals, so he's entitled to say that.
And he's got terrific pace, and he's hard to work with. Funnily enough, one of the things that, I mean, the way that Tyrone always try to work against Armagh's blanket defence, and which eventually brought them through in the semi-final last year, was to run the ball like that at them, you know, very directly. Short, quick hand passes to get through that ranked sort of, those serried masses of defenders. And after Kerry got that goal, they didn't do it again. You know, after that it was kicking the ball in front of Donaghy. The difference, of course, between that and what Armagh do is that with Kerry, it's, as Colm said, it's an orthodox formation. They kick it in front of him. Very difficult ball. I mean, Francie Bellew just has to put his fist in it. Whereas with Armagh, it's diagonal balls with the two men there. The ball's coming over the diagonal. The forward's turning. The back has to turn his back to the ball. And then one of the forwards is flicking the ball down. You know, they've got an organised...
I suppose an example of this was the goal they got, and also before that the goal chance that McDonald had as well that ended up in a point. I mean, this was the kind of stuff you presume you're talking about.
I mean, I heard Mickey Hart, you know, who's, I mean, obviously one of the foremost sort of geniuses of modern Gaelic football, talking about this. You know, everyone knows how Armagh are going to play.
But the mistake,
nonetheless, it doesn't make it any easier to counteract
the
it.
mistake there is like it's the Kerry back there is tussling, you know, Michael McCarthy. It's the next man should be back in front of the forward, and we see that for the goal as well. That one Kerry back is isolated, fighting out with the Armagh, but when the ball is knocked down, there's no other Kerry back covering back.
Yeah, but it's
who
very
should be in front.
Like if you're marking the leg, for example,
the most basic thing in the world.
Goal. So let's just develop the theory here.
It's the most basic thing in the world. You know, as a back, you keep between your man and the goal, and Kerry have been caught twice with that point, and now with this goal. You see now what happens when the ball is knocked down. There's, you know, there's a lack of marking. Look at where McDonald is. Nobody close to him at all. That's dreadful defending.
No, but hold on, I disagree with you entirely. I don't think that can be marked against. Colm says the defender should stay behind behind the forward.
McDonald's man is not good.
Clark's man was behind him, but McDonald knew what Clark was going to do in advance.
Well, basically, I mean, Armagh doing the tactic that you have pointed out, and that's fair enough. But that is their tactic.
Yeah.
But the point I suppose the column is making, Joe, is no matter what the other team's tactic is, you shouldn't let your forward walk away.
To work it, and that's to play the blanket defence. That's what Tyrone did.
Joe, you finished talking.
Even Tyrone last year when they tried it, eventually McDonald got the goal. The diagonal ball.
You just start talking. You keep going anyway.
Every Kerry defender knows what Armagh are going to do. Like, this isn't sort of rocket science.
Yes.
So, like, everybody knows that Clark will go up and he'll go and flick it on. So the Kerry defender has to be close to McDonald. And he wasn't within 10 yards of him when that ball
let him sneak away from him.
He was ball watching, and that was the cardinal error.
I disagree.
You have to give it to McDonald. He's a brilliant goal poacher. But, you know, the Kerry defence left it very easy for him.
Let's come to the Gooch chance, because this was a chance for Kerry.
Yeah, well, it was certainly a chance that Gooch on last year's form would have stuck in the net, and he waited long. This is where Donaghy does well, puts it down to him, and he delays long enough to get his kick around the defender, but he puts it across the body of Paul Hearty at a good level for Hearty, and Hearty's a good shot.
Two
very good block.
Touches the ball there and from the next effort.
Russell gets it over the bar.
Again, it illustrates the point that I'm making, that even Kerry, with a very untried system, with Donaghy there, he flicks it down to Cooper. Cooper's man's over him like a rash. Enda McNulty's been over him like a rash. But yet, it's flicked down. Cooper gets that yard. Well, you need a yard in there. With McDonald and Clark, it's worked on in training every night. So, I mean, he goes that way, he can go that way. The defender hasn't really got much of a prospect. I mean, the defender can try and guess where the second man's going to run to. But of course, in the first instance, when the defenders are coming out, they're watching the ball, they don't know who it's going to be kicked to. They don't know exactly what
totally confused with you, Joe.
He's determined on this point. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go to another break right now. Back to the football action straight after that. Welcome back again to the Saturday Game Live, half-time in this quarter-final between Armagh and Kerry. But later on in the afternoon, of course, it's the meeting of Cork and Donegal in the second of this weekend's quarter-final matches. That's at 4 o'clock here. As you can see, nice crowd moving into Croke Park ahead of that match. And already into Croke Park, of course, the Cork team, they're out at half-time in our first match here, having a little look around, just getting the atmosphere of Croke Park on this important day for the Munster champions. So then, Armagh leading Kerry by 1 goal and 7 points to 1 goal and 5 points. Who's it going to be at this stage? Still fancy Armagh?
Well, Armagh were the better team, but I don't think Kerry will be a bit unhappy about the position, because they could be farther behind. And I think that what we're going to see now in a very hot, sultry day is the need for a lot of subs. And I think maybe the reason for Declan O'Sullivan being dropped off the Kerry team might be the reason to bring him on. In other words, that he'd run at them and his speed in a sort of tiring defence. And Armagh have plenty of good subs to bring on to, like Philip Loughran and Paddy McKeever. So I think, you know, it may be decided by subs, but at this stage the odds still favour Armagh. But it's an intriguing battle.
One of the things about it is two of the Armagh full back line, Francie Bellew and Enda McNulty, are on yellow cards. If I was a Kerry man, I'd be lashing that ball in there and giving them as much hardship as I could.
Certainly you'd be expecting Kerry to try and isolate their big man up front, Donaghy, on Bellew, but it's not working because Armagh are going to filter back. But Francie Bellew got a yellow card, which was a strange yellow card, and actually it could have been a game without a yellow card at all, because it's been played in such a good spirit. But like, Francie now has to keep the hands off, of course.
Armagh normally come into their own in the second half. They spend the first half sort of grinding you down, and then they come into their own in the second half. And yet, the vital thing for Kerry is that they must take the chances. I mean, Cooper had a goal chance, but he kicked the ball across the goalkeeper, exactly where the keeper wanted him to kick it, instead of doing what he normally does. Put the ball in the net. If he had scored that goal, you'd be coming in at half-time in a drawn game. Now, those chances are going to present themselves because Donaghy's very big and he can get his hands to the ball. He's knacky, so he'll flick them down.
Yep.
Cooper and Russell can both score, so it's most important for Kerry that Russell and Cooper both stand up to the plate here.
Yeah,
but I still think Armagh win the game.
I think for Kerry, they're playing for the soul of Kerry football in this second half. You know, instead of being wiped out by Ulster opponents, they now have this opportunity in 35 minutes of restoring credibility, and it's going to be a great contest.
Let's see how it works out. We go back to the commentary box again, and to Ger Canning and to Martin Carney.
Yes, all set to go, and following a first half where Armagh created more scoring chances than Kerry. They created 15 as opposed to 12 for Kerry, but only 2 points between them at the break. Subs making their way off very quickly. It'll be interesting to see Kieran McGeeney in the second half, I would suggest, out there, because he was coming back helping Francis Bellew, as I mentioned in the first half, but at 34 years of age, can he keep on motoring at that pace? That'll be the big question.
Well, I think he's well capable of it, Ger, to be honest about it. He's been wonderful in that first half, and again, he's playing very cleverly. Not alone is he kind of been very involved in winning first space possession, but his covering of his centre half back and his full back has been just wonderful.
Well, Jack O'Connor will have been concerned about his full back and about Stephen MacDonald's participation for Armagh, really running Thomas Sullivan ragged. No changes that I can see in either team. Second half is underway, so let's see what develops. Darragh O'Shea now taking on Paul McGrain. Brosnan nicely back to Sean O'Sullivan, looking for the perfect start. He's got the perfect start. That's a second for Sean O'Sullivan. All he really is justifying his recall and selection from the outset for Kerry, and it's 1-7 to 1-6. Dream start.
Again, in difficult situations, leaders come to the fore, and again, great bit of leadership that time from Darragh O'Shea, bringing the ball forward, giving it to O'Sullivan, who again is showing great accuracy today and great industry throughout the field.
Well, Armagh made the better start to the first half. They can't afford to rest on the laurels gained from the first. Kerry mean business. Darragh O'Shea again held in possession, free kick. Kerry have come out for the second half ready to play, fired up. Armagh have just dropped off the intensity in the opening minute or so. Tomas O'Shea trying to find his best form. There's a holding violation inside, and Kieran Donaghy was being fouled there by Francis Bellew, and you know he's on a yellow card. The referee not prepared to do anything about it here, but Francis Bellew is warned, has to be warned.
Well, again, the referee has always the option of showing him the black book again. Again, he made that call from a far distance from the two players involved, but it seems that Francis certainly was holding Kieran Donaghy in that case.
It's got to be Mike Frank Russell to tap it over the bar. Second point. First just before half-time from 4 shots. Mike Frank has made it 1-7 to 1-7, and it looks a great deal better now from a Kerry fan's point of view. That'll do his confidence a lot of good. Might well have got a goal, same as Colin Cooper just before half-time, but for the brilliant team.
But there's no doubt about it, if they get enough ball in the inside line, they have a couple of players capable of dismantling the Armagh full back line, in particular Donaghy, who has shown the ability to outfox Francis Bellew.
The sun's out, the teams are level for the 4th time. Fascinating tie. Place of the semi-final in a couple of weeks' time at stake. The winner here will be meeting the winner of the next quarter-final, Donegal against Cork. Black book shown there to Tommy Griffin. Pressure in once again on the Kerry defence. Breaks back here to Oisin McConville. That's got away to the right. A wasted opportunity by Oisin, who's just got 1 point so far, and that from a free during the first half.
Yeah, one of the issues that surprises me there is that for that free kick, Seamus Moynihan or none of the halfbacks got back to cover the hole in front of the full back line. They're just a little bit tardy in doing that. They need to do it more if they're to cut off the supply to MacDonald and Clark.
They've won it in the middle. Tommy Griffin and Darragh O'Shea are playing well. Moynihan, loose ball mopped up here by Enda McNulty. As far as Kieran McKeever, challenged there by Paul Galvin. Put him off his stride, good hustling that time. from Galvin to O'Sullivan. He's got one in this half, looking for a third in all. Dropped in dangerously. Donaghy, as he did in Killarney, out jumping Bellew. Donaghy, back of the net. In that 39th minute, having set up goal after goal in Killarney, he has fired Kerry in front here. Kieran Donaghy with his first ever goal in the championship. An enterprising ball knocked in there by O'Sullivan, fetched brilliantly by Kieran Donaghy. He rounded Francie Bellew and he banged it into the back of the net. 2-7 to 1-7. Well, Francie had been worried, I think, by the concession of possession earlier on and the free awarded for the push on Donaghy. And I think he was being cautious. At the other end, Ronan Clark finding Malachy Macken, drifting in, charging. Free taken by Tommy Griffin.
Just going back to that goal again, it all came about as a result of Kieran McKeever dwelling on the ball too long. And again, that bit of ponderous play was fully exploited by Kerry. Fabulous ball from O'Sullivan to Donaghy. Wonderful goal.
This is Mike Frank Russell. All of a sudden, Kerry have taken on a new lease of life. That's an awful ball by Sean O'Sullivan. The intention was good, but he's given possession away to Paul McGrain via Malachy Macken. Huge one in, pressure on Tom O'Sullivan. Again, it is Ronan Clark here, pushed by McCarthy. Clark having the shot. It drops to the right, and Diarmuid Murphy had it well protected, I think. What an amazing start to the second half. Armagh yet to get going, but Kerry have got themselves a goal and 2 points, and this a cracking drive by Kieran Donaghy.
Yeah, for a fellow who hasn't played in the full forward line too long, again, you must admire his composure in that. He didn't panic, got around Bellew, took his time and fired it confidently past Paul Herty.
No doubt the players are responding to the words of Jack O'Connor, and there's the notebook being showed to Tom O'Sullivan this time.
And again, it must be said, it's very seldom that Armagh concede 2 goals in a championship football match.
That's true. But if you go back to the match against Monaghan, they very nearly conceded 2 because Monaghan had 2 really good goal chances. And this time, Darragh O'Shea getting in the way of Martin O'Rourke. Nothing nasty, but the referee penalises Kerry 13 metres, and McGrain fires it in there. And again, the same old tactic. Clark trying to dish it off there towards McDonald. This time being watched by Tom O'Sullivan, and this time it's gone harmlessly wide.
Well, certainly Kerry had the dander up at the moment. You can see that start to the second half has really fired them up. They're playing with a fury now, they're playing with a passion, they're playing with great cohesion throughout the field. And again, it all comes down to what was said in the dressing room and to the lead that Darragh O'Shea gave at the beginning of the second half.
They have the appetite for it. That was never in doubt. But they were being cast aside by Armagh at times in the first half. Now Armagh having to respond. Here's Paul Duffy. McGeaney still going forward. Switch of direction, and Galvin gets in a challenge. Helped out here well. One back again by Martin O'Rourke. It breaks to Darragh O'Shea. Referee says play on. There was a jersey pull. Comes out to Tomás O'Shea. Malachy Macken trying to close down his space. Brilliant one in towards Donaghy. Runs away towards the Gooch this time. Trying to keep it in play. Cooper from Dr. Croaks out there as well. Francie Bellew. Loose clearance straight here to O'Sullivan. Inside towards Darragh O'Shea. In fact, it's Mark O'Shea who's got there first. And that one lands inside to the left, and it's gone wide. It's fast and it's furious.
It's fast and it's furious indeed. We can draw breath for a couple of moments. Again, just watch this ball coming in. Great anticipation by Donaghy. On his knees, again, keeps his composure, uses his strength, and again, oh, beautiful, just on the near side of Paul Herty. Fabulous goal.
That's what it meant to the fans. Paul Duffy is down, requiring some attention just now. On a hot, humid afternoon. Oops. Out of play. I'm watching a couple of players having a tussle there. Martin O'Rourke was one of them. Darragh O'Shea was involved as well. I wonder, has the linesman spotted it? Certainly the Kerry officials spotted it, and so too the Armagh team mentors.
Well, credit to two O'Shea brothers that time defending their dunghill. I must say that time Darragh was in along with Mark, and again maybe I think Martin O'Rourke was letting himself be thrown to the ground rather easily.
Well, the linesman might just bring the referee's attention to whatever he has seen, but all eyes at the moment on Paul Duffy, emerged on the scene from the wonderful 2004 All-Ireland Under-21 team that beat Mayo in the final. Joe Kernan has been quick to bring forward young talent. Jack O'Connor, well, he's got a mix of experienced players and young emerging stars as well.
But I just comment on this stoppage actually by Paul Duffy for the moment. I've seen this with Armagh at times when things are going against them. They do take a little bit of a breather to more or less regroup and re-establish themselves and maybe take the sting out of the Kerry comeback, so to speak.
Gamesmanship?
Well, you can call it that indeed, but again, it's going on for so long now, we're used to it.
Referee's now going in to have a word with Dara O'Shea. He was involved with Martin O'Rourke earlier on. I think Mark O'Shea had been involved originally, and then Dara came in to help out. Referee is just content with a little chat. Play continues. A goal between them. Kerry have turned it around completely in the opening 9 minutes of the second half. Armagh yet to score in this second period. Kerry again with Moynihan, fired up now. On as far as the goal scorer for Kerry, Owen Brosnan. That's the first of the goals. Bottled up there, as you expect. Comes out to Mike Frank Russell from distance. He's put it wide. Good chance.
Oh, great chance indeed. His radar isn't functioning today. Again, he's getting on the ball, and a good opportunity that time created by Owen Brosnan. He should have finished it.
Well, looking down at the Kerry bench, they're not thinking about any changes just yet, although there are a couple of players warming up, if you could say warming up, in the warm conditions. Gerald O'Keefe, one of the three selectors, watching as Galvin can't hold, and instead it's Paul McGrain who comes in, fouled by Paul Galvin. Free kick to Armagh, who'll want to score now to settle them down in the second half and reassure themselves. Aidan O'Mahony collects out the supply brilliantly. Sean O'Sullivan, so much energy, so much power in his legs, keeping it there for Mark O'Shea to fire in towards Donaghy. Another big one in. Donaghy got the fist to it, but there's two men up against him. This time it's McNulty, and this time it's fisted away to Kieran McGeaney. Loose player here is Oisin McConville. Again they go long. Wonderful to see long-range kicking like this. It may not always be accurate, but the idea is good. There was a foul there, and the foul is by Tom O'Sullivan, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Thomas Sullivan that time fouling, just holding on as the ball came in. But again, there was no need for that because Kerry had numbers back that time. And again, I think that's the feature of the second half that is very noticeable. Kerry are getting numbers back to defend the defensive zone of the ground.
Armagh preparing Philip Loughran. Could well be that he'll be coming in around midfield fairly soon. Meanwhile, Oisin McConville, 1 point from a free so far. He's 30 metres out when he strikes it brilliantly over the bar. First point of the second half. 11.5 minutes it's taken for Armagh to produce that, but the margin just 2 points. And here comes Philip Loughran, and Malachi Mackin is the player who's got to make way.
Yeah, it's good to see Loughran coming back. He's been out with injury for a long time, serious injury indeed. Malachi Mackin, things didn't run for him. His handling was poor today, but again, around the middle of the field, Armagh need a little bit of a boost at the moment.
Well, that was Armagh's first score for 13 minutes. Kerry want to get the ball back. Dara O'Shea fouled. Mike Frank Russell down in the corner waiting, hoping it'll come his way. He's kicked 4 wide so far, Mike Frank. He's kicked 2 points as well. This is towards Donaghy, the goal scorer for Kerry. The second, Sean O'Sullivan. Holding on to it with Gooch. Back towards Mark O'Shea. Easy controlled action by Mark O'Shea, moving up effortlessly from right corner back, and he's floated it over the bar to put a goal between them. And he's had 2 shots, Mark O'Shea. This his first point today, 5th ever point in championship football.
Certainly Kerry are in the zone at the moment. Again, every one of their players are playing to their optimum. I must say Mark O'Shea support that time, and his calmness again with the opportunity was really commendable.
Well, former Taoiseach Albert Reynolds having a look on. I'm sure he's enjoying it. It's a wonderful contest. Dara O'Shea. Hand passed into the clear, and again it's another O'Shea, this time Tomas. Well, what Mark could do from about the same angle. This time there's a little block in it, but the O'Sheas are in great form. What number 2 can do, number 5 can do just as well. Darragh winning the ball in midfield. And there's another change for Armagh as we watch this in replay once again. Tomas O'Shea coming onto it, and Kerry lead by 4. Did we say they were in trouble earlier on? That's the response.
Wonderful emphatic response, and again Darragh O'Shea's display in the second half has been absolutely inspirational. Tomas O'Shea's support that time, and just like his brother Mark a couple of moments earlier, struck a really confident point.
You'll have seen Brian Mallon just come on for his 16th championship appearance for Armagh. They're in difficulty. John McEntee's been taken off. Sean O'Sullivan over there getting the attention. Everybody glad of a break whenever it can be given.
Yeah, there must be said, just at the moment Armagh are lacking direction and purpose, the need to get into the game around the middle of the field. Darragh O'Shea has taken control of it in the second half, but everybody around him has responded.
It's as if Kerry said at half-time, we are the true aristocrats of Gaelic football. Let's now go out and show it. Paul McGrain for Armagh, who dominated the first half, caused problems to that defence. Once again, it's McConville, and McConville coming in under pressure, has put the ball wide. He looks at the referee, and you remember in the 2002 final, there was a penalty, and he was the one who took it and missed it. Did get a goal later on, of course.
Yeah, that's a little bit worrying from an Armagh point of view. The ball came in that time again, and Oisin McConville of a few years ago would have held on to that ball a little bit longer, but again panicked and shot it bad wide.
Darren O'Sullivan being prepared by Jack O'Connor. Might well come in at corner forward for them, but that's our speculation. Meanwhile, the busy Paul Galvin had stepped out over the line, but the ball in the mind of the linesman wasn't out. That's what Jerry Kenevi has certainly ruled. Galvin into the heart of the Armagh defence, surrounded. It spills out again here towards Kieran Donaghy. The giant is in pursuit there by Andy Mallon. Mike Frank Russell trying to keep it alive. Colin Cooper, the Gooch pricking out. Tomas O'Shea, one already. He's got a support player. This is his brother Mark. Steals a little dummy here. Good little deception, and he's put it over the bar. A second for Mark O'Shea, and it's all going brilliantly for the Kingdom. Beaten in the Munster final. They score the goals against Longford. They were being led at half-time here, but right now they have a 5-point advantage. Watch for the overlap of Mark O'Shea on the left boot this time. 2-10 for Kerry, 1-8 for Armagh.
Well, that little seam of subtlety that time for Mark O'Shea was delightful to watch. Again, coming up like a true forward, just a lovely little dummy flicked it over the bar. Fantastic score.
How dare anybody rule out Kerry in a major match? But Armagh coming back strongly with Kieran McGeeney. Galvin pursues him. Was there a foul? Surely there was. Referee says play on. Comes out again here to Aaron Kernan. Back once again towards Oisin McConville. McConville letting fly. Murphy in difficulty, and the ball's gone over the bar. And Stevie McDonald, I think, will take the credit. That's a goal and 4 for Stevie, the corner forward. I suppose the question that Kerry fans will wonder, however, where was he standing when the ball came in?
Yeah, I thought myself he was in the small rectangle as the ball came in. That quite honestly, I think the score could have been disallowed. Just watch his positioning this time. Ball comes in. Yeah, he's inside before the ball came. I think that should have been a free out.
Yep, no question. But it's up there on the board, and it's 2-10 to 1-9. Diarmuid Murphy. Long, long way to go here. Kieran McKeever under pressure there from Brosnan, who was fouling.
And that's a very good point, actually. The Armagh half backline are under immense pressure in this half. Again, they're very young. The three of them are on the under-21 team of 2004. They lack experience maybe, but certainly they're under pressure.
This has come out here as far as Brian Mallon. Very good scoring record, Brian Mallon. Aaron Kernan. Serious questions now being asked of Armagh. Slipped inside to Aaron Kernan from Ronan Clark, who wants it back. Rounding Moynihan. Kicking from the angle. Over the bar. Great point by Ronan Clark. And suddenly Armagh have found some rhythm again. And in this fascinating match, it's back to a 1-goal difference. It was Clark from an acute enough angle who measured it superbly. 2-10 to 1-10.
Well, indeed, he measured it superbly. Indeed, today Clark has been the organiser, the innovator, and in that case, the score, a great score.
Sean O'Sullivan going off, Darren O'Sullivan coming on.
Oh, that surprise.
It seems that an O'Sullivan is destined to play in that role. I'm surprised by Sean O'Sullivan going off. I thought he was doing very well.
I thought he was outstanding, actually, throughout. His kicking of the ball had been exemplary.
Tomas O'Shea under pressure, enormous pressure. He holds, gets the free, takes it quickly. Donaghy doing well, dished off to the Gooch. Colin Cooper on his right, should get another. He has. 3 points for Cooper. Well, after all the very limp football we have watched in this year's championship so far, this is superb. Wonderful score here by Colin Cooper.
Yeah, I love the word limp, because that time I must say Enda McNulty looked somewhat limp in trying to execute a tackle on Colin Cooper. A little bit slow in getting into it, as indeed a number of the Armagh players are, the older Armagh players at the moment are.
Just wondering about Sean O'Sullivan's removal, Martin. I wonder, was he injured? Paul McGrain kicking. Armagh with a player down on the ground. That's taken well there by Mike McCarthy from Kilcummin. Out to Moynihan, who had a part in the opening goal of this game. On to Paul Galvin. Twisting and turning. Moynihan, wonderful athlete, great footballer. On to Griffin. They're attending to one of the Armagh players. They're down to 14. While we watch Mark O'Shea solo, hold it to himself. Has a support player, it's Aidan O'Mahony. Going laterally to Dara O'Shea. But at the end is usually a purpose where Kerry or Armagh are concerned. Darren O'Sullivan back to Dara O'Shea. Into the centre. Gooch showing strength and resolution. He's fouled. In fact, it was Mike Frank. Mike Frank getting there well, using his strong upper body.
Yeah, and in that case, I think a very tired kind of a fall from Paul McGrain. Looked a little bit slow getting in for the break, gave away a needless free, and again allows Kerry the opportunity to go maybe an extra point ahead. Kerry are playing fabulous football in this second half, something we haven't seen actually all year from them.
Well, they've McGuinney here has been central to everything that Armagh achieved in the opening half. In the second half, I don't know, is he finding the pace tough? I think he is.
Oh, very much so. Again, it's very hot out there. Anybody looking in, it's about 24 degrees, very humid here. Again, a 34-year-old player will be struggling a little bit at this stage. He's put in so much work, he's starting to flag a little bit.
Referee is having words with Tommy Griffin. I think he's going to be replaced in the game by Declan O'Sullivan. He's got a yellow card as well, and that is going to be his final piece of action. Yes, he leaves the field. He played well. Played very well, but I think it's an occasion where the managers are correctly going into their benches and using fresh, lively players.
That's right. It's not necessarily that Sean O'Sullivan and Tomas Griffin have been playing poorly. It's just the fact that they're freshening up the middle eight of the field out with as many players as possible.
Mike Frank with 2 so far, and that's another one gone wide. 5 wides from Mike Frank Russell. Well, they're persisting with him because they know what he can do. And when you look through Kerry's scores during the second half, they've scored a goal and 6, if my maths are accurate. Just 3 points for Armagh. And there's a nice pack, I understand, on Sean O'Sullivan's legs. So clearly he is injured. Dara O'Shea guilty that time of dragging back. Free kick taken by Philip Loughran for Armagh. We're inside the last 15 minutes. Martin O'Rourke now. Back to Stevie McDonnell. That's his second point of the second half. A goal and 5 for Stevie McDonnell. They're still very much in the hunt. There's only a goal between them.
Yeah, you've got to credit the resilience, credit their stubbornness, credit everything about them, the way they're keeping coming back, because throughout the second half they've been outplayed by Kerry. But again, they're so persistent, and again, winning 6 ulsters in 8 years, you know, has been fantastic.
And that is 8 shots that McDonnell's had, and he scored 6 times, a goal and 5. Loughran reaching up, Mallon's there as well. So too is Owen Brosnan. Helped out here by the substitute Declan O'Sullivan. He's the captain, I suppose, now. Aidan O'Mahony. Down once again. The keeper comes out this time, and McNulty is alert. Gets it away swiftly out to Alan Kernan. About 13 minutes to play. Fascinating match. Kieran McKeever. Goal between them. Kerry holding on. Kerry trying to build and win possession again with Darren O'Sullivan. Ball picked off the ground. Referee has decided, was it? He'll argue the toss. Oshie McConville doesn't care. He wants to get on with it in the centre of the park. Here he is. No time to lose. Ronan Clark. A lot of steps. Referee allows him to continue. Outside of the boot, and he's kicked it into the hands of Old Murphy that time. Well, whoever goes out this afternoon, if there is to be a loser, one of the big names of Gaelic football will be gone from the 2006 championship. Darren O'Sullivan impishly holds it on. Great determination. Declan O'Sullivan. Out it comes towards Tomás O'Shea. Soloing forward. In towards the Gooch. Knocked out by McNulty. Waiting for his McKeever. Support play out as far as Aaron Kernan. From Crossmaglen. His father, the manager, looking on. Urging him forward. Where's the support player? It's beyond MacDonald, and he was being fouled. And the foul, I think, is by Tom O'Sullivan, who's been ticked already. So he could find himself in difficulty. Referee indicating the free in.
Well, I suppose in a cynical way, there's very little harm in giving away a free that far out onto the sideline. Again, Tom O'Sullivan definitely foiling Stevie Mack in that case.
Martin O'Rourke is about to be replaced by Paddy McKeever. And Mike Frank Russell is going to go off in place of Brian Sheehan. Meanwhile, the referee will probably issue another card here. This time it'll be Tom O'Sullivan, and that will mean there will have been 5 Kerry players booked. Ooh, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Number 25, there is Aidan O'Rourke coming across. It's not Aidan O'Rourke. That's not Aidan O'Rourke. But one of the substitutes, the Moir Ishka indeed, getting involved very needlessly. That was not required at all.
Well, that's scandalous, actually. I think that shouldn't happen. Again, a manager should be open in a specific zone, shouldn't be down there. Again, bottles being thrown around the place. This is getting out of hand. The optics of this are a disaster. The referee needs to get control of it very, very quickly.
Joe Kernan is very annoyed there with Jerry Knievi.
Again, we saw it last week in the Laois off-league game when a bottom man came in, but this is all wrong, and I think Galvin has been sent off.
He's got 2 yellow cards, he's been sent off, and I think the second one was for throwing a bottle of water at the Moir Ishka from Armagh. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, well, that's highly dangerous to do, again, and deservedly get sent off for such an irresponsible act at a time when Kerry are going so well.
10 minutes to go. Joe Kernan's team have a man over. And the other person to be sent off is the Moir Ishka from Armagh. But Kerry's loss is immeasurable now. They're ahead by a goal. And this is the last thing that both teams really required. It's going to be a throw where it might have been a free. There was a foul, remembered, by Tom O'Sullivan initially. It comes back out here. They work it in. Paddy McKeever, and that's gone out over the end line, and it's gone wide.
That's fantastic defending by Owen Brosnan again. He's come back 2 or 3 times in this half. He's opened up the shackles this half. Great tackling.
Let's go down to the sideline. Marty Morrissey.
Yes, indeed, Gerard. There's a lot of tension down here on the sideline. It started with Paul Galvin's challenge off the ball on Kieran McGeeney, and it has escalated to the level that you now see. John Toll was acting as the bottle supplier for Armagh. He too has been sent off, along with Kerry's Paul Galvin.
Thanks, Marty. Now, back with the action. Kerry with 14 players, Armagh with 15. Kerry with the lead, Armagh with the free. It's taken quickly by Brian Mallon. Inside here towards Ronan Clark. Oisin McConville. Back once again to Clark. That's a beauty! It's the third. Ronan Clark now trying to use the extra man and keep them very firmly in the hunt with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, and a very good point, because they will find it very difficult to get the extra man now in front of their full back line. Just watch this point again. Very confident strike from a difficult angle. Great score by Clark.
The extra man right now is Aaron Kernan, and he's out around the half back line for Armagh. Diarmuid Murphy. A 2-point game as it was at half time, but then it was Armagh who were leading. Kerry free kick. Darragh O'Shea preparing to take it. Just something we've noticed, Martin, is that Martin O'Rourke did not come off as he was supposed to come off as a replacement for Paddy McKeever, and at one stage, for about 2 minutes, we reckon, they have 16 players on the field.
You know, I didn't spot that. Again, maybe Martin O'Rourke is off at the moment.
This free is going to be taken by Brian Sheehan.
Yeah, and again, I think there was a little bit of messing in there between the centre half back and the sub Declan O'Sullivan.
That's big. It's bang on target. Brian Sheehan from St Mary's. Maurice Fitzgerald couldn't have done it any better. A sweet strike, and the 14 men are leading by a goal. 7 minutes to go.
Well, he's just come in and he certainly has put his trademark on the, or is on the display. Again, a fantastic free from a long distance by Brian Sheehan.
The concentration now very definitely on the football. Plenty of drama in that this afternoon. Armagh's line ball. Once Seamus Moynihan gets back, Philip Loughran preparing to take it. Tension really high. Loughran in there towards Clark. They're leaping for it. It's Clark who's got it. He's down. All eyes on him. What's the referee going to do? It's a free out. Free out. Clark, you can be certain, was hoping that one of the Kerry players would go in and foul. They were disciplined. They have Tom O'Sullivan down on the inside in the goal area as they break quickly with Darragh O'Shea. Played off smartly here towards Brian Sheehan. The 14 men, Aidan O'Mahony out to the wings, Mark O'Shea leaving it there for Tomas O'Shea. Up towards the Gooch. Back once again to Tomas O'Shea. Nicely in towards Declan O'Sullivan, but Armagh, they're in numbers. Mike Van Grossel very nearly intervening. It's Declan O'Sullivan. And Declan O'Sullivan, or Darren O'Sullivan rather, has got the goal. It's Darren who gets there. Surely now Kerry are going to make it to the semi-finals. It's the 65th minute of the game, and Darren O'Sullivan winning the race. Sloppy defensive work by Armagh, and they are punished emphatically. It was a beauty into the corner. 3-12 to 1-12.
I think that's game, set and match again. A fantastic score for Darren O'Sullivan that time. Came in and took it with great confidence right to the roof of the net.
Interesting that while we're watching this now, in a change of formation, Kerry have brought Kieran Donaghy back towards their own half-back line. This is the man who got that third goal. O'Sullivan back out here as far as the team captain Declan O'Sullivan. Colm Cooper. What a turnaround of the second half. Donaghy holding it up for Darragh O'Shea. Armagh looking demoralised. That's just outside. Doesn't quite tail in.
Well, indeed, they look demoralised at the moment, Jordan. Part of the fascination is the predicted fallout from the result of this game. Kerry look as if they're going to enhance their reputation, and I feel myself that the defeat, if it comes around, will inflict a mortal wound on Armagh.
Armagh have got just 5 points in the second half so far. Kerry have got 2 goals and 7. They're battling still to hold on to their lead here. Seamus Moynihan. 4 minutes to go now. It's looking like Kerry, the beaten Munster finalists. You never know. Cork are still in that half. They play Donegal. The next live match you can see here on the Saturday game live. Darren O'Sullivan, huge one down. And that time there's a ball handled on the ground by Declan O'Sullivan. And it's a free to Armagh.
Well, one thing you say about Armagh, they will keep playing to the bitter end, but Kerry's second half performance is the best I've seen in years for them. Every player to a man has stood up, it's been counted, and again have played enterprising football, played with great vigour, great verve, fascinating game.
It really is. Again, gaps sealed there. Mark O'Shea initially, swept away by Aidan O'Mahony. All this while a Kerry side playing in the absence of Paul Galvin, sent off for 2 yellow cards. Tomas O'Shea to Mark O'Shea, picking out Declan O'Sullivan. Classy football, classy display by the Kingdom. That's good, that's beautiful, magnificent point. That's a bit more like it from the Kingdom and from Declan O'Sullivan.
Yeah, that's the second in a row. Again, a fantastic score. And again, I suppose every one of us who kind of wrote off Kerry and who were doubtful about them, we certainly deserved a little bit of a spanking we're going to get over this one. But fantastic display from them, and it's heartwarming to watch the skills being exhibited at their very best.
The ante was upped at half-time, and Kerry have responded. McGeady. And the referee has spotted a foul inside, and it's going to be a free. Foul by Tom O'Sullivan, who might have been yellow carded earlier on, but I didn't see a yellow card. It was at the time when bottles were flying in and out.
Yeah, he was yellow carded, but again, if there's anything to be given this time, I'd say it's the black book.
Well, it was black booked earlier.
Well, I say he's going to go this time, probably on a second yellow.
I think he didn't get a yellow. I think the referee got so bottled up in what was happening, he forgot to give him a yellow earlier on. And that is his first yellow.
That's his
It's
first
amazing.
one. Yeah,
So much was happening, Martin. And so much happening here for Oisin McConville. He's put over his third pointed free. Some game.
Wonderful game, and again I suppose it's fair to say like Armagh have contributed hugely to it, but any purist who wants to see Gaelic football at its best always looks to Kerry, you know, for the lead and for the benchmark that's been set. And today we have seen a Kerry team that is completely revitalised from the team we saw in Portnekeith maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, Gerald.
Eamon Fitzmaurice on for Owen Brosnan into the last minute. Kerry hated it being said about them that they were beaten in '92 by Armagh in the All-Ireland final, beaten in the semi-final by Tyrone, beaten in last year's final by Tyrone. They hated it being said about them that they weren't able to stand up to northern opposition. They did beat Armagh, of course, back in 2000, but this is the one they really wanted to win. That's a foul there by Francie Bellew. He's on a yellow, he's been on a yellow I think since last week.
I think he's well used to yellow cards as Francie, but he's as cute as a fox. Seldom ever ends up getting the second one.
Brian Sheehan, this time I think it's just a case of using up a few seconds. There's going to be 2 added minutes played. Well, for any of us who doubted that Kerry were a spent force at half-time, we have more than got our answer. They had scored 1-5 up to the break. Look at it now, 3-13 to 1-13 in added time. Brian Sheehan letting it fire. There's a player in the square. It's the Gooch. Free taken by McNulty. Well, the game really only collapsed after that third Kerry goal scored by Darren O'Sullivan in the 65th minute. Prior to that, Armagh were giving it everything. Kerry, super. Moynihan, lion-hearted as ever. Donaghy has played a real part. Out as far as Darragh O'Shea. At half-time, I think a lot of people were saying this is going to be the end we're going to see of the kingdom. They've come back. They're virtually in the semi-final. Who's to say they will make it to the final? And that is Fitzmaurice. First since coming on. And now it is 3 goals and 14 points to 1 goal and 13. It's Jack O'Connor's day and his magnificent team from the kingdom.
Yeah, and you can see the confidence flowing through their pores at the moment. They're just giving an exhibition of support play, of backward passing and of scoring. It's been a wonderful second half to behold, and we're privileged to have watched it, Chair.
Philip Loughran trying to set up Paul Duffy. Coming through here, the support player Brian Mallon on his hands and knees. But it comes back out again, this time to Brian Sheehan. We're in the final 40 seconds. Colm Cooper and his colleagues will just want to hold on to it now. Declan O'Sullivan wins a free. Well, interesting, since the sending off, Kerry have got a goal and 3. Armagh got 2 points. Who says Kerry can't do 14 men?
Yeah, one of the things too I think we should commend is Darragh O'Shea's first 20 minutes of the second half, because it was he who lit the torch paper from where the drive came from.
He's a wonderful footballer, great athlete, but a brilliant brain. Donaghy, who has shown everybody at Croke Park what a fine footballer he is, not just a great basketball player. And that's a free there for a foul on Declan O'Sullivan. And the Ulster champions are rocked.
Well, certainly are rocked.
A couple of Kerry players down, and Kieran McKeever could be in some difficulty here. Kieran Donaghy, the one of the players who's down. McKeever has been ticked earlier on, just a yellow.
Yeah, and I think Declan Sullivan is the other guy down, and Kieran McKeever just showing a little bit of impetuousness, a bit of silliness at the moment. Kerry will be delighted with that free being given away, and again they'll probably just, Brian Sheehan will tap it over the bar, the Gooch will do the necessary.
This is what happened here. Yeah. 2 against 1.
Yeah, that's filthy now. That's the use of the boot in the first place, and stamping all over him in the second place, then trying to apologise. That's ridiculous.
No place for that whatsoever.
No, and again in the Ulster final against Donegal, he was at a bit of the same messing with Chrissy Toy over the far side, and that's something that, you know, is just uncalled for at this stage of the game.
Just looking ahead to the second quarter-final, Donegal must be saying, how good are Cork now, seeing as how they beat Kerry? Cork must be saying, are we going to possibly, if we get through Donegal, have to face Kerry all over again for the third time in this year's championship?
No, the old word, they'll be focused on one another at the moment, but when they wake up this evening at 6 o'clock, it'll be a different thing.
Second for Brian Sheehan, 2 from 2. The additional time has been well and truly played. It's an 8-point victory for Kerry. Jack O'Shea, whatever he said to his charges at half-time, they came out like men possessed. They took the fight to Armagh. They were no longer going to be bossed around. They tidied it at the back, but more importantly, they won primary possession out the field, and the supply lines were cut off to the likes of Stevie McDonnell and Ronan Clark. And for Joe Kernan, it's a very disappointing day. There with Paul Grimley and John McCloskey. It's Kerry's afternoon in the sun. Their fans will enjoy the journey home after all of this. Did we say they were in trouble? Never. Not where Kerry's concerned, because at the end, in this opening Bank of Ireland quarter-final, they have come through and they have won handsomely. And bear in mind, they have done it with 14 men for the last 10 minutes of the 70. Wonderful victory. Joe Kernan will be the first to acknowledge that. You never have a Kerry team beaten. They just don't know the word defeat down in the kingdom. They showed tremendous heart and resolution. They had the passion, they had the appetite. Martin, they're very much in the hunt for the Sam Maguire.
Oh yeah, they had the skill also, they got the imagination and got the real heart for it, Ger. The second half, when it became a battle, it was Kerry that kept at it. It was Kerry who got the scores. It was Kerry who fully deserved to win. And again, it must be said, the quality of the football is something we haven't seen all year. Again, it's a reprise of the second half of the National League final when they were superb in that. It's been a few months coming, but when it came, by God, was it worth watching.
They mightn't have won Munster, but they have won the National League, but that pales into insignificance by comparison with Kerry's love of the Sam Maguire Cup. Sean Welch there, the County Board chairman. Sean O'Sullivan, one of the stars. He may have gone off injured during the second half, but he really played his heart out, as did each and every one of them. And at the end of a titanic struggle, it's Kerry who win. Kerry 3-15, Armagh 1 goal and 13 points. Let's go down to the sideline to Marty.
Thank you very much, sir. Jack O'Connor, wonderful performance by Kerry.
Yeah, Marty. We felt this was coming ourselves. We felt very good coming into the game. You know, I suppose 3 weeks ago we were written off, I think. I was pundit saying we were gone, that this team was finished. We knew ourselves, the people within the group, that we were far from finished. We regrouped well after the replay in Cork. We actually became very much closer as a group and as a team. And
because Jack, there was a lot of rumours going around and innuendo that there was disharmony in the camp. But even if that was true, you have responded magnificently today.
Well, sure, people can talk, and as the fella said, paper never refused ink, but we weren't worried about that. Once it didn't affect the players, we weren't worried about it. And sure, what's wrong with it if a few players draw a few swipes at each other inside in training? Is that what you want? In fact, I was only praising him for doing that. But look, we're delighted. It was a great second half performance. We were under pressure in the first half. Armagh played with ferocious intensity. We felt they couldn't keep that up. Our big man came up trumps again. That goal was a turning point. Delighted for the lads. They put up with a lot of stuff.
And Jack, it was a significant move to move Kieran Donaghy from midfield to full forward. You obviously were confident all the time that would work.
Sure, I didn't know how that would work or not, but we had to try it, you know. There just wasn't enough direction in our play. We were a bit slow in our build-up, but he certainly has done the business for us over these 2 games, and even though Francie did well on him today, he still did a bit of damage in there. So just delighted for the lads that came on as well. We were on 4 subs, they all contributed. Even Eamon Fitz there kicked the last point, drove up from the half-back line, so delighted. And just looking forward to the next round now, Martin.
Well, you should be delighted. Congratulations on a wonderful performance. Well done, Jack.
Well, I think, gentlemen, we all have to congratulate Kerry on that. That was a truly good performance. It was a great game of football, and that has to be the quote of the year from Jack O'Connor. So what harm if a few fellas hitting a few belts of each other in training?
We didn't know it was as bad as that. We thought there was just a bit of sulking going on.
Not a bit of harm at all, but this was a real game of football.
Yeah.
This is as good a game of football as we have seen since last year's semi-final. And I said at half-time, you know, that Kerry were playing for the soul of their team and their county, and they responded in real style. This was the best Kerry performance in a long, long time, and probably the most important win in all the championships that they have won. What they have done now is they've sort of buried this ghost that they can't beat an Ulster team. So,
absolutely.
you know, and it elongates the career of Seamus Moynihan and Darrow O'Shea, who was absolutely brilliant when the gun was put to his head today. So it's a real overjoying performance in terms of football skill, but also in that restores the old order, which we thought was maybe gone forever.
Sure, I'll tell you, Cork and Donegal, which is coming up next, is something to live up to. You know, at half-time, Kerry were, I said it, they were just about hanging in there, but they really, really bounced back in the second half. Kieran Donaghy, I mean, it was the obvious thing against Longford to put him in, grab balls, score goals, and he did it today against Armagh. It was the critical goal.
Was, and I thought, I mean, and Darragh was saying all those boys were excellent, but I thought his was the critical performance because he burst the Armagh bubble. You know, it was a huge psychological boost for them, you know, for Donaghy to score that goal against Armagh's sort of defensive talisman, you know, and to score it so emphatically. And I'll tell you this, and Colin will agree, there's nothing like a goal of that order, and look at him putting his face into the keeper's face. Psychologically, it was a massive boost, and you could see it galvanised the Kerry team. And, you know, suddenly Armagh looked vulnerable because a while lot about football's in the mind. And after that, Kerry played with great confidence. And as Colin says, they've always had the best footballers. Yeah. But up until now, after that, they got their chests out. And I mean that's the first pasting Armagh have had since they started. 7 years. Oh, yeah. They were beaten by 7 points. I mean, they haven't, if you counted up all their defeats over the years.
It wasn't a 7 point. 7 points really didn't, you know.
It was more than that.
The two Kerry goals put a bit of an impression. Like Armagh were given as good as they got, but they got rattled, and I haven't seen Armagh rattled in a big game. When Donaghy got that goal, you could see, you know, it wasn't the Armagh team that we know.
No, it wasn't, but as Joe said, you know, the confidence was starting to flow in Kerry, and when you have backs, when you have wing backs and full backs who come up and take points. Yeah.
Yes, well, it was a day when the O'Sheas recovered their form, you know, because Tomás O'Shea has had a bad year.
Yes.
Mark O'Shea has been the best of them, but today the two brothers, and you know, Tomás discovered a bit of his form today.